The United States has always been a car country, many thanks to Henry Ford for this. Once Eisenhower implemented his interstate system based on the German Autobahn, America's reliance on automobiles and roads was cemented at the expense of rail transit. I'm Stevan Novakovic, Senior Economist with Farm Credit of Central Florida, and welcome to another Economic Update. It can be hard to farm if you can't get around or even to your property. And with work from home transitioning back to office or hybrid roles, commuting is necessary again for many that got used to working in pajamas. So what is going on in the car market? Well, if you've tried to buy a car, new or used, over the past 3 years, seen the empty local car lots, or watched some of our inflation-related clips, you might have noticed how much pricier it has gotten. Horror stories have been legion over the pandemic of surcharges for new cars in the tens of thousands of dollars. But how do we get there, and where are we going? Well, similar to the housing market, this has been a ticking time bomb for decades and driven by supply-side imbalances. Let's take a look at domestic auto production in the U.S. After peaking in 1978 at 9.9 million units produced, as recently as 1994 we were still making 6.6 million on an annual basis. Something happened around then, however. We signed NAFTA. This came along with the waning power of unions and factories shifting to right-to-work southern states, as well as bilateral agreements with various Asian nations, shifting consumer preferences, and for other reasons. What is important to note, however, is that American annual vehicle production dropped by 62% from 1994 through 2019. Total NAFTA imports nearly tripled between 1993 and the peak in 2014, with production shifts away from Canada and the U.S. to Mexico. Thus, domestically, we have been on a downward trajectory for 3 decades, and North American production overall has trended negatively since 2016. This all came to a head over the pandemic, when we literally shut down the industry in March-April of 2020, with production in the U.S. dropping 99% from 219,000 vehicles in February to a minuscule 1,700 in April. And since then, we still haven't recovered, making only 137,000 in January 2023. So, before we conclude, let's take a look at how many cars are available in the country. For January 2023, car inventory was 108,000, only 16% of the average monthly total pre-pandemic for 2019, and a paltry 6% of where we were in the mid-90s. But sales have remained robust regardless of high prices and increasing interest rates, as, well, folks need transportation. One final metric to put this in perspective: the inventory to sales ratio for cars. For a quarter century before coronavirus, we averaged a 250% inventory to sales ratio in autos, which meant at any given time, we had 2.5 times as many new cars available as we did total purchases. Flash forward to now, and our availability is only 58% of new sales, and it was as low as 38% 1 year ago. What does this mean for those of us looking to buy a car? Well, until production can catch up, the market will remain tight and prices elevated, even with 9 to 11% interest rates on auto loans.